Good morning, good morning, good morning, folks. Merry Stupid O'Clock. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We're going back to that horrible world known as the JRC. But before we do, trigger warning. We are about to read gaslighting, victim blaming. We're about to have some smoke blown up on our ass, and we're about to have a word salad, all courtesy of Matthew Goddamn Israel this morning. He's going to talk and tell us why people like me deserve to be hurt and shocked and put into catatonia by skin shock, and try to tell us just how safe it is. So, just know that's coming. Just know that's coming, all right? All right, in the description box, folks, you're going to find a link to the article that the Judge Rotenberg Center doesn't want you to read. It is written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics, wherein they interviewed and surveyed over 900 ABA professionals from all over the world. All over the world, JRC. In regards to the quote-unquote, their behavioral modification program. Matter of fact, the JRC doesn't want you to know that the majority of people who even perform ABA are against their treatment of people with disabilities, that they have threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit, and they do not remove the article from the website. NeuroClastic has refused to comply. So, folks, you know the drill. Please read that article and share on all your social media. We also have linked in there NeuroClastic's public statement in regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding, folks, in case the JRC has the balls to see through with their threat. We also have the pertinent links to the Agape boarding school situation. Agape Boarding School is a Christian-themed boarding school based out of Stockton, Missouri that takes in so-called troubled male teens. That might as well be Missouri's version of the Judge Rotenberg Center. They certainly have been playing right out of Matthew Israel's playbook. They have, as of right now, over 21 allegations and claims, as well as civil lawsuits. Those claims and allegations substantiated by the investigations done by the Missouri Department of Social Services that include child abuse, sodomy, sexual assault, starvation, and child trafficking, and we're just scratching the surface. We have had one former staff member arrested by the FBI, another, a doctor who still lives on premises with full access to the children. I cannot emphasize this enough. That is up on multiple substantiated claims of sexual assault and sodomy on the students that are in that school. We have an attorney general who is too busy running for Senate to do his damn job. What business he thinks he has in Washington. If he lets a small county prosecutor push him around, I don't know. But if you think Attorney General Eric Schmidt is going to stand up to anybody, when a small county prosecutor ate his lunch, I got a river in Egypt, I can sell you. We have a governor too busy kissing Trump's ass to use the authority of his office. So, folks, please share the articles and the newscasts we've gone through so far on this channel by linking and sharing those links in the description box. Please, while you're doing so, don't forget to sign and share on all social media the change.org Shut Agape Boarding School petition. Shut it down, but petition. Okay? Alright, we got the pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign as well, including Autistic Hoya's massive archive on the subject, the templates, and the ever-present self-explanatory change.org Shut the Judge Rotenberg Center Down petition. When we discuss the JRC, folks, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with disabilities being tortured and abused. Young children present, please use your headphones. Trigger warning, we are about to read the words of Matthew Israel, one of the biggest proponents of using corporal punishment against troubled children. You are going to hear abuse, apologencia, and you are going to hear from a man who truly believes that due to the fact of how I was born, I deserve to be tortured into compliance. So just know we're going to be going through that. There will be a lot of profanity used, a lot of outbursts. Okay? Okay. This channel is marked not for kids for a reason. Again, we use profanity and we talk about dark subjects. If your child is 16 and under and they are watching this channel, parental supervision is advised. It's 5:31 a.m. in the morning. I'm already agitated. Just the name Matthew Israel makes me almost go into a blind rage. So if I stumble over my words, folks, apologies in advance, all right? Excuse me. Fall allergies suck, folks. Fall allergies suck. All right, where we left off yesterday. The use of skin shock as a component of behavior modification treatment is opposed by certain advocates. Gee, I fucking wonder why. Maybe we believe that we shouldn't be punished for how we were born, Matthew. Maybe we believe that treatment shouldn't be designed specifically to hurt people. Maybe we believe that treatment shouldn't be forcing people to act in a way that is contrary to how we are made. You know, maybe we don't want to be punished because we're stimming to self-soothe. I find this amazing, by the way, and that's not just Matthew Israel, it's ABA. The fact of the matter is, folks, stimming is a form of self-regulation. You can think it's weird all you want to. It may not have any meaning to you, but it does to us. Helps us to self-regulate, helps us to self-soothe and calm so that we don't burst into the behaviors that Matthew Israel is so afraid of. When you take away our own self-calming mechanisms and then become surprised when we give in to the behaviors because you've taken away our coping mechanisms, and therefore that means we must be out of control and must be shocked. Seriously, you all. Seriously. I'm sorry, but your discomfort for 5 minutes so that I can stim and calm down and not have an outburst, I'm sorry, but your discomfort is a worthy sacrifice for me to not just punch you or somebody else in the throat, okay? Sorry, not sorry. You can handle a little bit of embarrassment in front of your friends in the grocery store so that I can calm down, okay? Get over yourselves. Again, neurotypicals, you have some coping mechanisms that are far less healthy than me stimming, okay? Just saying. Matthew Israel likes to demonize us advocates a lot. He attacks us because he believes we're a soft target. Not that necessarily that we in and of ourselves will back down, but he plays on society's innate ableism. And he uses it as a means of, you can't trust what they say. They're disabled. Their brains aren't right. Don't you understand? They're too stupid to know what's good for them. I'm a doctor with years of experience. Trust me, I know what's best for them. Oh, your child is strong enough to go out there and be able to protest? Well, they're not like the kids in my school. See, the kids in my school are monsters in the shape of human beings, and you have to leave them to me and trust me to torture out all the behaviors out of them. I'll give them back to you completely catatonic and obedient. Yeah. Yeah. And we're Satan, okay? According to him, we're Satan because we're trying to take away treatment from your children. We're trying to take away torture from your children. This is not treatment. It's not treatment. It holds up to not even the smallest amount of scrutiny. It is roundly condemned by organizations, doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists, and professionals from all walks of life all over the world. It is not just us advocates. By the way, folks, you're a part of this. Because people like this play on the feelings in society that are already there. Places like this get to exist as long as they do because of how we are viewed. You might want to think on that a little bit. People like Matthew Israel get away with it because once they slap that label on there, you all look at us differently, don't you? Don't you? Think on it. Because JRC is the leading example of a program willing to supplement positive behavioral supports, such as rewards with skin shock as an aversive, in cases where the person cannot be effectively treated without them, JRC has become the focus of attacks by anti-aversive advocates. Here the fuck we go again. He's going to try and convince you this is the only way. He's done it successfully to parents for years. My way is the only way. Nothing else is going to help them. This place is not going to educate you about what the alternatives are. Remember when I've told you ABA never works? Not really. If you talk to these parents, a good majority of where they've taken their kids, nearly every goddamn time, psychiatric hospitals, ABA schools. Yeah, that's not trying everything. There are thousands of different programs out there. Person-centered planning and positive behavioral reinforcement, which is now more widely used across ABA professionals' repertoire, just being two of them. They like to use the word advocates because they want you to think about us, about me. They want to tell you we don't understand. We don't work in the field. We don't work with these children. Well, you know what, Matthew Israel? I'm going to take a note from your book. I'm going to appeal to authority. I actually have worked with these type of children, doctor. Me, my old autistic self, too stupid to know what's good for me, right? Worked in the field. In one capacity or another, over a decade, on top of 40 years of, well, damn near 40 years lived experience. You can't tell someone like me that there's no alternatives when I can list them just off the top of my head. Systems and programs that I have seen work, yes, on kids just as severe as you've mentioned. You can sit there and say that nothing else will work. You don't understand. Everything's been tried all you want to. But the answer is that is a lie. Your job as a professional is to provide several different types of programs to determine what one would be best for a specific situation. Your answer is torture is supposed to be used in every situation. I'm just saying. You all became a target of attacks because what you do is torture. And it's not just self-advocates. But they're not going to tell you that. They're never going to tell you that. They don't want you to know that the Ark has come for them. They don't want you to know that Easter seals has come for them. They don't want to tell you that March of Dimes has come against them. Even their old butt buddy Autism Speaks has come against them. You know what I mean? For God's sake, NHS in Britain has come out against them. Very powerful groups have come against them. It's not just self-advocates. It's not anti-anything. Powerful groups, powerful international disability rights and autism rights and neurodiversity rights groups all over the world, all coming for you, doctor. Now, why would they do that? Are we just trying to target you because we're mean? No, doctor. So don't let him snow you with this idea that we're the only ones sending out the gong sound. Because ARC, the UN, Easter seals, March of Dimes, all of us have been coming for these bastards for years. And we know this because we've gone over statement after statement from these allies who fought alongside us. You want to know who JRC has right now as their only ally? ABA International. That's pretty much it. All right, let's move forward here. Characteristically, these persons are unwilling to rationally weigh the risks or intrusiveness of skin shock aversives against the benefits and to consider whether using such aversives might be a better choice than the alternatives. See, I told you they were going to attack us. We're too stupid, right? We're not rational. We don't understand. You can't trust those autistics coming against us. They're not in their right minds. Dude, have you ever picked up a DSM a day in your life? Ever? Ever? Do you actually even understand the diagnosis of the people you're trying to treat? Because the answer here, folks, shows a very resounding no, he does not. Because in the DSM, it will tell you we're extremely, matter of fact, they almost listed as a deficit part of having autism spectrum disorder. We're extremely rational, extremely analytical, extremely logical, animals. Very, very much so. So explain to me, doctor. We're giving to rigid rationality to the point that we will go with that over our own emotions. Part of the reason why you all consider us emotionalists, no less. Extremely logical, extremely analytical, extremely rational. All very much so. And this is listed in the DSM. How are you then going to use the argument that we are not rationally looking at the situation? As a person who have worked in the field, doctor, do you think I do not know the negatives of my diagnosis? Do you think after nearly 40 years with living my diagnosis, I do not know about the drawbacks of having my diagnosis? That's some balls on you if you say that I don't understand. That's some balls. You're going to tell us we don't understand what it's like to have these behaviors and all this shit. Dude, who the hell do you think we are? If anybody's going to understand the drawbacks to autism, it's going to be a fucking autistic. We live with it every single day in a world not built for us. Doctor. Really? Really? You don't extend these extreme behaviors in which I have engaged in my life at one point or another. A good majority of the autistics can say the same. I understand it very well, doctor. Very well. Most of us do on some level. The truth is, doctor, the majority of your students there are not coming there to avoid prison. They're autistic. So your straw man argument that you tried to use at the beginning of this article doesn't work. It also doesn't work to tell us that we don't weigh things rationally. You think I don't know the damage of self-injurious behavior? You ever almost give yourself a concussion, doctor? I have. I know the repercussions. You ever punch a wall so hard you put a hole in it and your handwork hurts for fucking 3 weeks? I have. I know the consequences. Okay? Stop. You are not the only doctor or only program in the world who's dealt with kids who had severe behavioral issues. That's not what you shock those kids for, though, doctor. You use that as an excuse. Andre McCollins was not shocked over 31 times face down on a 4-point board for engaging in self-injurious behavior or trying to hurt anyone. He was a threat to no one. And you shocked him from no compliance. And that is the truth, sir. That is the truth. There is no misunderstanding. I understand perfectly that you feel that you should be able to get away with basically what is considered war crimes against people like me because we're disabled. And that should be the only justification you need to do whatever the hell you want to us. That's the real truth. And you are appalled in your condescending while I'm a doctor. That gives you the right to do whatever the fuck you want with no checks and balances. That's not how medicine works. It's not how schooling works, doctor. Okay? They simply ignore the small population of people who cannot be effectively treated with psychotropic bugs and positive behavioral supports alone. Oh, here we go again. They don't understand. They don't know these people. They don't know these kids. They just don't understand. It's a small population. And positive behavioral reinforcement doesn't work, and neither do the drugs. Doctor, you are aware of the fact that we know from your own documents from 2006, matter of fact, that we know for a fact that you don't even know how positive behavioral reinforcement works. You tell me it doesn't work alone. You're not even using it. You're not even using it in the first place. So how the fuck do you know if it will work or not? You don't. Because you don't understand it. You don't use it. How do you know if it works or not? Again, with the medications, we're going to beat down on medications, right? I'm not going to tell you that pharmacology has advanced light years since the 1970s when he first coined his bullshit argument. Medicine is not the enemy, folks. Not talking to your doctor. Even if sometimes talking about the side effects can be embarrassing as hell. That's how you end up fucking sedated into catatonia. Talk to your doctors, autistics. You gotta talk to them. You gotta level with them. Because sometimes doctors even have to think outside of the box. The normal conventional drugs used on autistics didn't work for me. Adderall did. Okay? Weirdly enough, Adderall did. Stop, doctor. And then you talk about warehoused and drugged into submission. Well, you shock them into submission, doctor. You beat them into submission. How's it different? All right, that isn't. You talk about warehoused and isolated. What is it exactly do you think it is that you do, doctor? No talking out. They're not allowed to talk to their friends unless they're inside a group activity. They're not allowed to associate with anyone outside of the school by themselves. They're not allowed to have phone time by themselves without staff there listening to every single word coming out of their mouths. Your school does indeed engage in restraints. How can one be free from restraints while in restraints? Make it make sense, Karen. You ask any autistic, do you choose between the drugs or you can take this kid shock and be tortured? I'm gonna take the fucking drugs, and you would too. You would too. The argument didn't work the last millionth time that you used it, doctor. This argument is never going to work because it is a lie. It's built on logical fallacies based on a lie that you only use it on the worst for the worst and only when they are engaging in self-injurious behavior or aggression. That's not true, doctor, is it? If they stim, shock. Roll of the eyes, shock. If they ask to use the bathroom more than once because they were ignored, shock. They get out of their seat to scratch part of their ass that's itchy, shock. They speak without permission, shock. They refuse to remove their coat, shock. Let's not address the fact that you make them literally earn every single bite of food. You deprive them of sleep. If they had a behavior earlier in the day, you're going to punish them at night now, aren't you? We'd already know for a fact that you do, because the DESI reports simply exist. Doesn't hold up, does it, folks? Doesn't hold up. The fact of the matter is, it didn't even hold up in the 70s when he first made these arguments. That's why California had him fucking completely and utterly removed from their state. And I'm going to close out on that. But before I do, this is what Matthew Israel and his ilk do. But how they get away with it is the way people like me have been portrayed by the media, by parent groups, by people like fucking Autism Speaks, groups that get the stars to advertise and get them money every goddamn April. They're playing on something deeply embedded in our culture that sets out people with disabilities as other, which then makes it easier to dehumanize us to make money off our backs. You know what I mean? And by making money off our backs, by portraying that image, people, psychopaths like Matthew Israel, they're going to use that. And that is how they're able to continue to use outdated arguments that never actually hold up to any scrutiny and continue on for years, in spite of the fact that the blood of 6 students is on his hands. We've got to start looking at ourselves as a society. How do we treat not just people with autism, but ADHD, dyslexia, blind, physical disabilities, neurological disabilities, people with mental health issues? We've got to start looking in. We cannot claim we are all about inclusiveness and diversity when we still treat people with disabilities and mental health issues as sub-fucking-human. That's how places like this exist. That's how Matthew Israel was ever able to become the fucking father of the idea, the concept of the troubled student. This is how places like Agape and Circle of Hope exist. We've got to change, folks. You neurotypicals are the majority of society. You're the majority. If there's ever going to be real change, you gotta start there. Quit buying the bullshit the media is selling you every goddamn April. See us as the human beings as we are. Okay? We have to start there. Because if we keep continuing on and patting ourselves on the back because I helped a person with autism today, places like this will continue to exist, continue to kill, continue to assault, continue to torture and beat down people with disabilities, people considered troubled teens, with impunity. Now I'm going to go ahead and close out. We don't get very many views on this channel, especially on this subject. The few that we do get tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time this morning. As always, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.